ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
The LouieTeeNetwork is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Sunday Night Football Overtime. NFC East family business. And you know how the family do it, or maybe you thought you knew how the family do it. If these two teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's family business. And boy, did the Cowboys handle some family business tonight or what? These are the tough ones, man. Because I wanna be funny and I wanna laugh and I wanna kiki and we're gonna do all of that tonight. But this is the second Sunday night game in week 1 that the Cowboys have absolutely destroyed for me. I want to be excited. My team won in week 1. I want to sit back, relax, kick back, enjoy Sunday night football, cap off the day with an excellent game. And then I sit down. And literally, if you went out and ran some errands or you went upstairs to take a shower, kind of prepare yourself for tomorrow, maybe got your clothes out, whatever, and then you came down and they were halfway through the first quarter, it was already 16-0. And by the time it was halftime, it was 26-0. So I can tell you this, in my experience, there's nothing worse than a wet ass whooping. It just adds extra insult to what's already been an embarrassing situation. Being wet on top of getting embarrassed may be the single worst way to go out. A wet ass whooping. If you've ever had one of those, like a real life wet ass whooping, those are the ones that leave weps. Those are the ones where you're like, bro, that's hard to recover from. Standing outside in a downpour as you're getting your brains bashed in. You have a helmet on, your helmet soaked, you don't have a helmet on, water's beating down your brow, and you just sitting there getting your shit bust in. And you just got to take it. And it's only the second quarter. You got 2 more quarters of this ass whooping. Where are you going to go? It's the third quarter. Your shoes are full of water. And you got to stand there in this ass whooping for a whole nother quarter, maybe quarter and a half. I was just talking to Washington fans the other day about how cool it would be to shut somebody out. We ain't done it since 91. And I was like, man, I would love to shut somebody out. That's pretty damn cool. You know, there was a moment last year where we thought we could shut Houston out. That shit was picturesque. It was a work of art. That was total domination at its finest. Damn, the Giants look like ass cheeks tonight. All of those damn improvements, all of the shit that Bad Dog was talking about in terms of the upgrades. We had Richie James and Isaiah Hodgins. They look a lot better last year than the shit we saw tonight. Let me say this first. Think there's been a murder. I can't think there's been. I think there's been a murder. Hey, somebody get out the yellow tape, man. It's definitely been a murder tonight. I'm going to see if I can solve it, though. Give me an hour of your time, and I think I'll figure out who done it. So here's some observations, because I don't have a lot for you tonight. I'm not gonna bullshit you. I don't have a lot. I mean, there's nothing really to analyze here. But I'll give you some of my takeaways from the action tonight. Takeaway number one, and this is not, most of the takeaways that I'm going to give you are things that you already knew. These aren't new developments. We didn't just figure these things out tonight. Most of these we already knew. One, the Cowboys are pretty damn fast on defense. And the Giants had the right idea on the first possession, which is run the football at them. Because you can't run away from them. And apparently, you're not allowed to touch them if they're rushing after your quarterback. So I feel like they had the right approach initially, which was, hey, let's run the football at these dudes. But they're really fast on defense. And if you don't have a real offensive scheme or a plan, you're going to be in trouble. There were times where Micah Parsons looked like he had like a cloak or something, an invisible cloak, and that when they would go to block him, he would just vanish and appear right in front of Daniel Jones before he could even get to the top of his drop. They're really fast on defense, but we already knew that. Number two, the Giants are so heavily reliant upon Daniel Jones, his legs, and the play action boot game. It's not even funny. Do you know what Dallas essentially did tonight? Is they said, hey, take that bootleg shit and go somewhere else with it. We're not having that bullshit tonight. All this Daniel Jones boot action coming out the backside. Now we ready for that. Try something else. They didn't have anything else. Couldn't drop back. He didn't have any time. Couldn't run the boot. They weren't having that shit. Couldn't use Daniel Jones as a runner. They were all over that shit. So what else are you going to do? What happened to all this speed that you were supposed to have? All right. Well, maybe you'll get them next time. Maybe you'll get them next time. Hey, look. They tried to score, right? I mean, damn, how do you get shut out in week one? You can't scrape together a field. Well, they tried. They tried. They got a field goal blocked. Graham Gano, who's a really good kicker, shanked another attempt. Credit to them. Credit to them. They tried. Takeaway number three. Dallas's revamped Mike McCarthy offense, not all that good. Wasn't all that impressed. Daiquiri looked really average tonight. Wasn't really blown away by anything that they did. They got a gift on that pass interference to Brandon Cooks. That shit wasn't going to hit on nothing. Young corner panicked and tackled him for no reason. Dak's numbers were extremely average tonight. Now, I will say he had some drops. Threw a beautiful ball to the tight end for what should have been a touchdown. Had another beautiful ball to the other tight end on a third down that forced him to have to settle for a field goal that should have been caught and converted into a first down. You know, so it's not like he didn't do some things and his numbers wouldn't have looked a lot better if guys would have just simply caught the football. However, I wasn't blown away by anything I saw offensively from Dallas. But then again, you didn't have to do anything really extravagant tonight. Your special teams and your defense scored a touchdown before the Giants even knew what hit them. So we'll see what they look like against the Jets next week offensively. Well, they'll actually have to play real offense because the other team won't be just giving them free points. And the quarterback that you're going up against can actually throw the ball to his team. Number four, You know, there was this conversation, and I know it's one game. You don't want to get carried away, all that good stuff, yada, yada, yada. You know, that conversation around Dexter Lawrence, and I think he's actually really good, and Leonard Williams, and how they're supposed to be this dynamic duo inside, and they're better than ours. Yeah, effing right. Where the hell were those guys tonight? Anyway, when a play needed to be made, where was Kayvon Thibodeau? Where was Azeez Ojulari? Where was Dexter Lawrence? Sexy Dexy. Where was Leonard Williams? I don't know. Why are you asking me? I'm asking you. Did you see any of these dudes step up and make something happen when they were getting their shit bust in? I didn't even know they were on the field till Dexter Lawrence almost got to Dak Prescott. I think that might have been the only time I saw him the entire night. Anyway, I think that's all I really have. Oh, the Cowboys have a kicker. He looks like a soccer player who's attempting to kick field goals. That's going to be interesting when they actually need him, because I didn't see a guy that I truly feel comfortable and confident in, moving forward. But hey, look, outside of the one missed extra point, I think he made all of his kicks. None of them were pressure kicks. I want to see what happens when he's got to kick one from 48 with a little bit of pressure on him. He looks like he'll get the yips and he might yank it. And then, I don't know, maybe he's got a strong leg, stronger than what it appeared to be tonight. Didn't seem like his leg was all that strong. And then maybe he just tried to take a little bit off after he missed the first one. Maybe he was a little bit nervous, some nervous energy. And so he just decided to take a little bit off. None of the kicks were all that far tonight. So that's something I'm going to keep my eye on with this kicker situation, because I don't really think they did a good job of handling it this offseason. I really think they might have just done some bullshit. But we will see. Usually they do a pretty good job of unearthing kickers. Maybe they've done that here too, but I'm going to keep my eye on them. As for the Giants, look, I've got good news and bad news. The bad news is that is as bad of an ass whooping as you can take on a national stage for everyone to see. You can't be more embarrassed than that. And this is coming from a Washington fan. I've taken my fair share of public humiliation ass whoopings where I'm talking about tremendous ass whooping. Shoes, coat, hat, took it. National television, point and laugh. Everybody's looking at you and you have nowhere to hide. I've taken my fair share of those. I don't know if I've ever been shut out, though. You got to score something. Something. The good news is it only counts as one. You didn't lose 4 games tonight. You just lost 1. So a wise man once told me, what am I going to do? Stand up and stare at it? You drop the deuce, flush it, move on. So we'll see if they can bounce back next week. I think you have Arizona. If there was ever a team that you could use your get-out-of-jail-free card on, it's the Arizona Cardinals. You'll get them next week. But they got to be licking their chops thinking, hey, with our athletic front and how we can get up the field, we could make life living hell for Daniel Jones and the New York Giants. We'll see. I wouldn't just give the Giants a win next week after seeing the shit I saw tonight. They should beat the Cardinals next week, though. Anyway, 40-0. A 40 burger. You caught a 40 piece at the crib. Queen Latifah came out and sung a beautiful national anthem only for you to get your ass whooped. You should be ashamed of your damn self. Not at your own crib. Dallas came to your house. and they sat there, they put on one of those masks, and they had a blowtorch, and they physically removed your front door from your home, came inside, duct taped you, sat you down on the floor. Matter of fact, they put you on the porch of your own damn house in the rain as they ransacked your home. You should be ashamed of yourself. My deepest apologies to Queen Latifah for coming out and singing the national anthem and then having that happen. That's embarrassing, and you deserve better. You deserve better. And I enjoy The Equalizer, by the way. Hopefully they pick that show up. Hopefully the writers come back and we can get The Equalizer back and really see what's going on there on that show, because that's a really good show. Anyway, this felt like a preseason game. You know, it was funny to me because the Giants were conducting themselves this preseason as if they were made men, right? I get a kick out of these teams. Like, if you're gonna do this shit, you better have a Justin Herbert and Chargers-like performance where you come out the gate swinging and you score 34 points. You know, you better do one of those. You can't play your starters in one possession. Thinking your shit is sweet. They came out like they were made men. Like, yeah, nah, we got Daniel Jones. We don't need to put him out there, bro. Let Tyrod and the rest of these boys get work, man. We straight over here. Oh, really? You straight over there? Yeah. All right. Bet you they won't do that shit again. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the comment section. I ain't got too much more for y'all, man. That shit right there was gruesome. I mean, no family member should do another family member quite like that. I believe it was a wise man that said they're going to tenderize that meat real good. Real good. The Giants got their meat tenderized real good tonight. Pause, man. They got their meat tenderized real good. Dallas really stuck it to them. Real good. Pause again. Shout out to my guy Law. Fitness Ventura. Stand up. We got a slew of these. We're gonna run through these real quick. These might have been from the last stream. I'm pretty sure it was, but we're gonna run through them real quick. Fitness Ventura, stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB. Glad to have you on board. Superstar J, all of these are from the last stream. So we're gonna run through them quick anyway. Superstar J, stand up. You know what it is. DSGJ, stand up. You in the building. King Dre, stand up. You in the building as well. Zoe Life, No Life, stand up. You in the building. AJ Meehan, stand up. You in the building. Black Mel 67, stand up. You in the building. Spicy Kicks Hawaii, stand up. You in the building. And Tyler C. We did all of these on the last stream. They were still here, so I just ran it back again. Y'all know what it is. Welcome to the squad once again. Glad to have you. All right. Let's get to the comment section, man. Joshua Farish, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Just waiting for Louie T to sing the murder song. Why can't we do that to the Giants? HTTC. It was funny. I was making fun of the Giants on socials, and somebody was like, hey, we can talk all the shit we want, but Daniel Jones still going. It's on site with us when Daniel Jones see us. And I'm like, you're not wrong. You know, we can't do that to him because we let him get the little easy check down shit. We fall for the banana in the tailpipe on the bootleg and let him get outside and outflank us and hit the tight end in the flat and pick up 12 yards. That was like, F your little bootleg. Soon as you fake that bitch, I'm coming right after your monkey ass. They were all over his ass, boy. He looked like the old Daniel Jones, the one that you were just waiting on to do some stupid shit. He looked like that Daniel Jones tonight. It was fun to watch. He turned the clock back to 2 years ago. Damn, how much they spend on him again? Somebody told me tonight because I asked for a friend. So I just didn't know, and it's crazy when you spend that kind of money on a white running back, not named Christian McCaffrey. That shit is insane. We got all these running backs out here starving in these streets, and they're going to pay a white running back, not named Christian McCaffrey, that kind of bread. It takes some stones to do that. But you can't pay Saquon more than $11 million, but you're going to pay this white running back 100 and some change. That shit is crazy to me. But that's just me. I'm just saying. Frankie, yo. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes. You see that Kurt Warner movie, American Underdog, where the coach forces him to sit in the pocket and take hits nonstop? This game reminded me of that. I've never seen that movie. I know what movie you're talking about, that the story of Kurt Warner, but I've never actually watched the movie. But, man, it was bad tonight. It was bad. I mean, as bad as Daniel Jones was, can you blame him? Seriously. All of these quote-unquote upgrades that the Giants have made on the offensive line, can you blame him? John Michael Schmitz does a Cam Cheeseman on a shotgun snap and dribbles the bitch back there on a drive that had some potential. Evan Neal, did you know his last name is an anagram? Did you know that? So his last name is Neal, but it's actually an anagram for lane, as in a path to the quarterback. Because all he does is send defensive linemen straight to the quarterback. They look like they wasted a pick on his ass. We wasted a good draft pick on you. Hope he gets his shit together. I'm lying. No, I don't. It was bad. Real bad. Frankie, yo. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Danny Dimes turned into Danny Rubles. Hey, his offensive line was a mess. They was taking turns. They were having a track meet and a race to see who could get to him first. How many sacks did they have? You know what's crazy is the last time they did this shit, they did it last year. And I told them, I specifically told NFL, I said, stop doing this Giants-Dallas shit first game. We don't need to see this shit. You know what, though? I asked for it. And now after this, I guarantee you we won't have to deal with this shit for the next 7 years. Not in week one. They may try to run this shit back later in the season where they could flex it, but they're not going to make us sit through this shit again week one next year. I guarantee you that. This is the last time we have to worry about this bullshit showing up on our schedule week one. Because they used to make an annual habit out of this with Eli and Tony Romo when the two teams were actually good. Okay, they got to stop acting like Daniel Jones and this Giants team is good for real. They snuck up on some teams last year. They don't have Atlanta and they don't have Detroit. And, well, I think Detroit might have ran them out of their own gym last year. But they don't have Green Bay and Chicago and Indianapolis and Jacksonville and all the teams they beat up on last year to puff up their record. They actually got to prove they good. I need to see the shit. Because it's losing. It's one thing to lose. Shit, everybody lose. And then it's another thing to look incompetent. They look incompetent tonight. They look like Joe Judge was back on the sidelines. Because clearly Brian Daboll did not have an answer tonight. This is the guy that we were lauding and praising and talking about how great of a coach. And I still think he's a damn good coach. One game isn't going to change that. But he looked just as clueless on that sidelines. He had no answers. None. Let me see how many times they pressured. Last year on Monday Night Football, I think it was week 4, when both teams were undefeated, they pressured Daniel Jones like 17 times in that game and sacked him like 6 or 7 times. I don't know how many times they got him tonight, but it felt like they were taking turns, and everybody got some. Let's see. Cowboys had 7 sacks, 12 QB hits. That mean they had to have about at least 14 or 15 pressures where they didn't touch him, but they forced him to throw it faster than he wanted to. Yikes. Red Wing 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, consequences of Sam Howell slander by Giants fans. Again, it's a long season, and it's one game. It was an ugly one, but it's one game. And we'll see what happens, see how they bounce back. But get him the Steve Spurrier treatment. John Mayberry. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. John Mayberry writes, boys would have beat the brakes off of y'all too, Louie. Thank God y'all didn't play us. We them boys. Hey, we'll see you at some point. It ain't till down on the road. Thanksgiving is the first time we see y'all. I can guarantee you'll never do that shit to us. Not this incarnation of our squad. You've whooped our ass before. We've taken our fair share of ass whoopings from y'all. And we've dished them out to y'all monkey ass as well. In your building, no less. Okay. So you've caught these hands before. All right. But that shit y'all just did to them. Hey, I'm gonna just give you credit. Credit to them. Credit to them. I'm just give y'all the credit, man. That was flagrant. That was really, really disrespectful what you just did. Salute. Don't bring that smoke over here this way, though, because y'all ain't doing that shit to us, okay? Home, away, Jupiter, Mars, you ain't doing that shit to us. Don't be pulling that shit, okay? Last time I saw you, we were smacking y'all around, all right? But, again, new season, different team. We'll see what happens the next time we see y'all, but I can assure you it won't look like that. Even remember that time y'all came to our house and kicked our teeth in when we had won 4 in a row and we were 6-6 and feeling good? Even in that game when you were kicking our teeth in, we came back and made it a 1-score game. And if our dude, what was his damn name, caught that damn pass down the sidelines, we might have came back and beat your ass. Even when we was getting our ass whooped, we made it a game. Pick Dak off, pick 6, got right back in that bitch. That shit was embarrassing what they just did. John Cedillo, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, John, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, writes, sup, Lou? Sup, John? Says, offense wasn't all that impressive, particularly Dak Prescott, but if the defense can play consistently like this, watch out. And that's essentially what I said. And we hear, John, like you one of the most rational Cowboys fans I've ever encountered. You and my dad are probably 1-2, like 1A, 1B. Like, y'all get it. Like, Dak wasn't anything to write home about tonight. He wasn't terrible now. The numbers don't always do it justice because, again, there were a couple of drops that would have sustained drives, and then one was a flat-out blatant drop of a touchdown on a beautiful throw in between 3 defenders up the seam. So numbers would have looked a lot better if both your tight ends, Hendershot didn't drop the touchdown, and then the dude from Wisconsin doesn't drop the outbreaking route on the 3rd down. But shit happens. Dak was solid, but we're gonna have to actually see what the hell Mike McCarthy talking about next week against the Jets. You ain't gonna be able to pull this shit next week. Red Wing 01, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, I was down by like 5 or 10 in my fantasy league tonight. T. Higgins gave me nothing. It was rough, man. Joe Burrow had 82 yards passing. I mean, nobody on that team gave you nothing. Says, and my opponent still had Dak and CD. I was supposed to be dead to rights. Then my Dallas D dropped 35 points. Zoinks! They bailed you out. Bailed you the slam out because it was supposed to be over. Kyle Dub, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Kyle writes, Giants went out like Willie Lump Lump. Man, they went out like some straight mark busters. That's what they went out like. So disappointed in those dudes. I would love to talk to Bad Dog. It's just I went in just for shits and giggles. I checked out his live stream to see what him and Tana were talking about. And Tana looked like somebody just died. And Bad Dog, he was just like pissed. But you know how Bad Dog does. Instead of being, because when you get your ass whipped like that, at that point, you laugh to stop yourself from crying and being mad, right? So you make a joke out of it. But he was pissed off. Because it ain't nothing worse. That, you know what the equivalent of tonight was for Giants fans? It's like getting excited about Christmas. You're all pumped. You asked your mom and dad for a lot of shit, or excuse me, Santa Claus for a lot of shit, right? I mean, this list is pretty robust. And you're thinking, I've been a really good kid this year, man. Like, I deserve a lot of this shit. So you go to bed extra early. You cleaned up so you don't have to do anything the next morning. You could just get up and run under the tree and see what you got and start ripping shit open. And you get under the tree and there's either nothing there or it's like a bunch of boxes of coal. Like, that's tough because you've waited all offseason. You waited all preseason. You barely saw Daniel Jones in the first team offense. You waited all this time. You're bubbling with excitement. And then this is what you get. And you know what's funny is Washington fans were complaining about our game, right? I waited all this time and we look like garbage juice. Okay. I kept trying to tell them it could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse. I watched a lot of football today. It can be a lot worse. A lot of teams did not taste victory today. Some teams didn't even score 10 points today. Some teams didn't even score 3 points today. The Giants, the New York Giants. Some teams didn't hit 20 today. It could be worse. But as I said already, if you're a Giants fan, here's the silver lining. It's one game. You got Arizona next week. You got to change. Now, if you lose to the Cardinals next week, woo, irreversible. There we got some trouble. All right. You bounce back next week. You score 27 or 31. You win comfortably next week, and all is forgiven. All right. All is forgiven. Swaggy P, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, I wonder how Bad Dog is feeling right now. The massacre at MetLife. That's a good one. The massacre at MetLife. Yeah, I went and checked him out. And he's in good spirits, man. He's in good spirits. He was, last time I left him, he was looking for the paper bag to put over his head. When I left him last time, he was looking for the paper bag. Emperor Meech, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Jones exposed yet again. I was told he's a top 10 quarterback. I love Emperor Meech. Shout out to Emperor Meech. Because now, I know you want to change when you used to be mean to the Giants. Like, I need this thing to crumble in order for us to start over. But you knew before a lot of people did. You knew that the last regime was fraudulent. You probably bought into the Daniel Jones narrative just a bit. Now, I'm not telling you that you thought he was top 10 or anything crazy. I haven't heard one person say he was top 10, Emperor Meech. And I'm not saying that you didn't. I'm just saying I haven't heard anybody say anything even remotely close to that. But there were a lot of people that felt like after watching what he did last year, and I had to listen to Bad Dog all week talk about Daniel Jones had the highest completion percentage, 3,300 yards, and 700 rushing yards. It was the only quarterback in NFL history to do all these things. And I'm like, bro, he literally dink and dunked his way down the field last year. It was well constructed by your head coach, Brian Daboll. Very well constructed. He took the few resources that he had and he maximized the hell out of that shit. But let's not act as if Daniel Jones is out here throwing dimes, because he wasn't. People are more afraid of his legs than they are his arm. Here's what I think is ultimately going to happen. And this is going to be an interesting case study this year, Emperor Meech. Last year, when you ain't have shit, and I've seen this happen. As a matter of fact, the first year of Scott Turner in Washington is the case study that I have right now, but it's a small sample size. So this is going to offer me more data. I'm going to be watching the Giants all year long. Here's my theory on this. This is my hypothesis. When offensive-minded coaches have little to no resources, it forces them to be special with the things that they do have. They get creative. They do things that allow them to be successful out of sheer necessity. And sometimes in doing that, you hide flaws and weaknesses because you just hone in on the things that you can do as opposed to the things you can't do because you don't have a lot of resources. Now that you've got all of these different weapons, everything's supposed to be grandiose and you're supposed to be able to open up the playbook, and Jones is supposed to spread the football field vertically now and challenge teams with all this speed. You heard Chris Collinsworth. Oh my God, Paris Campbell's a 4.31 40 guy, and Darius Slayton's 4.39 40, and Jalen Hyatt's 4.4, and I think he's faster than that. How many of those bastards caught a pass more than 5 to 10 yards down the field tonight? Your best player is still Darren Waller. Now that you got all these weapons, I think he's going to try to get so creative now that it's going to end up effing you up instead of you just doing the shit that worked last year. We'll see, because maybe teams are hip to it. It looked like the Cowboys had your whole game plan in their shit before the game started. Like, oh yeah, so this they first 15 scripted right here. Y'all want to see it? Yeah. There's that same whack ass bootleg they ran on this last year. Yeah, that's number 7 on the shit. Yeah. Remember 11 right here. Remember we saw this shit on Thanksgiving last year? Got us for 37 last year. We're going to be all over that shit this year. Yeah. Blow that shit up. I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to find out. But yeah, Daniel Jones looked like Daniel Jones tonight. Daniel Jones looked like Daniel Jones. And it was fun to watch. Wilfredo Elias, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, NFC East team that isn't 1-0 couldn't be us. Hashtag HTTC. Look, I told y'all, just enjoy the victory, man. Tomorrow we'll be celebrating a victory Monday. Giants can't say the same thing, right? We knew somebody in the division was going to lose. So I just expected a competitive game. That's all. I feel bad because I fell for the Giants thing, hook, line, and sinker, right? I picked the Giants to win this game like a dumbass. I was regretting it. I literally, during the first drive, I was like, man, I'm a smart ass dude for this one, man. They running this shit right down their throats. And then the Giants went and giant, right? Daniel Jones. What happened? It was a false start penalty, and then a bad snap, and then a block in a scoop and score. And immediately I'm thinking, what did I just do? And before I knew it, it was 16-0. Then it was 26-0. Then it was 33-0. I was like, can't believe I did this. You gotta take your lumps, man. I'm begging the Bills to bail me out, or else I'm looking at a less than 500 week in week 1. I mean, that shit is disgusting. This was a funky week, though. I think I'm gonna drag some people down with me. I don't feel as bad, but watch, it's gonna be one asshole that's gonna go like 11-5, 12-4. Somebody might even be 13-3, and I'm gonna be just like that in week 1. I'm down like 5 games, and I'm trying to dig myself up out of a hole. I really need that game tomorrow night. I really do. I was trying to be special. Pittsburgh and, the Giants. I was really trying to be special, and I got my brains bashed in week 1, just like these Giants did. Matt N. 17. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I've never been more embarrassed to be a Giants fan in my entire life. I'm in so much pain right now. I've been there, Matt. Because again, I've always said this. If I'm gonna take an ass whooping, let me take my shit at 1:00 in obscurity while nobody else other than the 2 teams that are playing in the game fan bases are watching. Don't put me on national television for me to get embarrassed like that. That's the worst. We got to watch these same Giants go to Seattle in like 3 weeks. And I said it when the schedule came in. Why do we need this game? Why? Who wants to see Seattle, New York on Monday Night Football? Show of hands. Who's interested in that shit? I don't even know if Giants fans want to see that shit on TV. Anyway, I've been there, bro. It's a lonely feeling when your team embarrasses you like that. Because, like I said, it ain't nothing worse than everybody watching. Because they don't know what you over there doing. They just going to take this small sample size. It's a large ass whooping, but it's a small sample size. And they're going to run with it. They might not see your Giants the rest of the season. All they're going to remember is you got your ass whooped on Sunday Night Football 40-0. So you got to be garbage. And you waited and waited all offseason for that. And I remember back in 2016, we went to the playoffs. We won the division. We hosted a playoff game, played the Packers, lost, but we felt really good about the offense. And we had everybody coming back. And we had the Monday night game against the Steelers, week 1. I'll never forget this shit. And I remember after we got our asses whooped, Antonio Brown twerked on us. It was a disaster. And I remember after that game saying, it ain't nothing worse than waiting an extra day to wait for your team to finally play their first game of the season just to get your ass whooped. You waited all day. Waited all day for a Sunday ass whooping. You waited all day, sat through all these games. The excitement built, and it built, and it continued to build, and then it got to a crescendo. Queen Latifah belts out this beautiful national anthem. I don't know if dudes are crying or if it's just the rain, but man, you ready to go. Your rookie Eric Gray is ready back to return the first kickoff of the game. And then you proceed to drive it down the field. Then the drive implodes, and then the game absolutely explodes right in front of your face. And at that moment, you realize, I waited all this time for that shit. That's a pretty bitter pill to swallow. It is. It's tough. Junie Rudy. Thank you for the super chat. Junio Rudy. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Junio Rudy writes, 9/11 victims. Hold on. Time out. Let me get a 30-second. Let me read this first. This could be going in a direction we don't need to go in. Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Okay. Wow, that comment was dark. It was bad. It was not. Come on now. Wow. Have some heart, man. We on the precipice of 9/11. And that's what we doing? Jesus. Some of y'all are heartless. King in the North. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, reminder to not overreact to week 1. Facts. Giants/Commanders O-line needs to learn to play together. Howe will be fine as long as he improves each week. The enemy will improve as a play caller. I have no doubts about that. Yeah, I'm good over here. I'm not panicking. I've already rewatched. So this ass whooping allowed me to rewatch the Washington game already. I've already watched it again. I feel even better about the game having went back and watched it. There's still a lot that we have to clean up, but in the moment watching it, not being able to specifically watch certain aspects of the play because I was just looking at Sam Howe, I feel a lot better about some of the things that transpired. And I feel even better about my statement about the 6 sacks. 3 of those at a bare minimum were on Sam. I want to watch the all 22s though. That's what I'm waiting on, is the all 22s to really have an opportunity to look at that, see what the hell's really going on. But I can just tell you that for as bad as it felt like in the moment, we left a lot on the field. I think we're going to be just fine. And I think a lot of that could be attributed to, first week, getting some of the timing down. We missed some opportunities. We let some things get away from us. And they got some things that they have to clean up. What I really want to see is the all 22s to kind of look at and see route distribution, spacing, depth of routes, that sort of thing, so I can kind of get a handle of what the hell the game plan was. Because in my mind, I'm telling myself, we ran a lot of deeper routes, and that's what forced Sam to hold on to it. It could have been guys were wide open and Sam just wasn't getting through his progressions fast enough, or they confused him. They gave him looks. He thought he saw one thing. They did something else. Sam didn't want to throw a pick, so he didn't throw it, and he was holding on to it too long, and that's how the sacks were happening. But somebody had DM'd me and was like, yo, Sam, really hurt us. He missed Diami on the first possession of the game. And I'm like, he missed Diami on the first possession? I don't remember that play. So I'm like, maybe I'm tripping. So I went back and watched the game. There was no pass to Diami. So I'm like, maybe Diami was wide open. And I went back and I watched, and there was a play where Diami comes in motion and he runs a wheel up the sideline. Maybe he was wide ass open for a touchdown, and Sam didn't see him, right? I want to see the all 22s to see because if you were at the game, you might have seen that. At home on the TV copy, we don't see that. So I'm like, okay. And again, you don't know what his progressions were. You don't know where his reads were taking him and how all of that transpired. But again, I can tell you this from the TV vantage point, looked like he was looking that way. And I don't know if Diami broke up the sideline and there was a busted coverage and it would have been an easy walk-in touchdown. But all I know is there's a lot there that they can work with to get better. And you take all of that with a win, and you continue to get better. And that's that. I do know this. I was glad that Ron wasn't all giddy at the press conference. He was pissed off. Not pissed off. He was disappointed. And that's how I thought I thought that was the right emotion for the game. Don't be mad. And he had to quickly come back and say, trust me, I'm excited that we won. And that's the exact same emotion I had. Trust me, I'm excited we won. But I'm disappointed with all the mistakes, with all the self-inflicted wounds that we created. So, yeah, I think we'll be fine. Don't want to overreact. I mean, the Giants could end up being 10, 11 win team after this. Again, it only counts as one. I remember one year, the Patriots, they released Malloy. He went to the Buffalo Bills, and the Bills beat him in week 1 like 38-10 or 31-7 or 38-7. Beat the brakes off of them. The Patriots went to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl that year. It was like 2002 or 2003 or some shit like that. Malloy was a huge part of their early success. They released him because that's the Patriot way. Get out of it before the guy ends up being not very good. And he was pissed, and they got revenge week 1. And I remember they were talking all kinds of shit, and then the Patriots went on to win the Super Bowl. Got their asses whooped in week 1, won the Super Bowl that year. That's not what the Giants are going to do. But I'm saying don't overreact. But this was pretty bad. And again, that Patriots ass whooping that they got from the Bills, that was at 1 o'clock in obscurity with only those 2 fan bases watching. Whole nation wasn't watching that. Ed, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Ed writes, Lou, today was bad for my Bears. Ugh. Ed, I tried to warn you, bro. Justin Fields looked exactly the way that Justin Fields looked last year with no talent around him this preseason. And again, another one of these teams where I go, can you explain to me why Fields didn't play in the second preseason game? Like, you're acting as if like shit is going so well in practice that we don't need any game action. All right. Justin Fields should have been out there for all 3 preseason games, getting as many reps as he can, because he still looks ass to me. And he looked exactly the same way he looked in the preseason. And your offensive coordinator, he stinks, I think. I'm not sure about this, but seeing him in the preseason and then seeing him today, I think he stinks too. But again, it's 1 week. We will see. But Justin Fields seems to me that he can't beat anybody with his arm, only his legs, and that shit's only going to get you but so far in this league. Man was running for damn near $150 a week last year, and you were losing every game. So, yeah, it's going to be a long season. Buckle up, bro. Unless some shit changes drastically, it's going to be a long season for your Bears, bro. John Perez, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, JP writes, Lou, good to see you. Likewise, JP. Sorry I didn't make it to your show. No need to apologize, man. Don't need to apologize for that. I was at Dorney Park today with the family. It's always good to get some family time in. Always good to get family time in. But I saw some games as well as all of the scores. Plus the rain made all these games sloppy. That didn't help. Anything in the Midwest to the East Coast, you were probably dealing with some kind of inclement weather. I had a fleeting thought when I was watching Washington's game. I was like, yo, well, this next stadium, we need a dome. We need a retractable roof on top of our shit. I think if you're trying to get Super Bowls here, you got to have that on the East Coast, because obviously the Super Bowl is being played in February, and you just can't take the risk of, if you want Super Bowls here, which this would be a great destination for a Super Bowl. Honestly, depending on where it is, DC can't handle a Super Bowl in terms of like the amount of sheer amount of volume that is flooded into an area. I don't think DC could handle it. But if you want to be in that discussion, you need a roof that can close, I believe. But that was just a fleeting thought in my mind today. I was like, man, this sucks. It's raining in week 1, Then you turn to a game where it's inside, like Chicago, like Carolina versus Atlanta. I'm like, damn, perfect conditions inside. Then I turn to Cleveland and Cincinnati, and that's a slop fest. I turn to Washington, and that shit's wet. And you're just looking at some of these games around the league. The one tonight was just nasty, just all that water just everywhere. You like, Daniel Jones slides down for the fumble on the snap, and he's got all those pellets stuck to his damn face because it's wet outside. You know what I'm saying? He's just like, damn, sucks, because it impacts games. It does, but both teams have to deal with it. That's the thing. It's like you can't bitch and complain about it because both teams got to deal with it. Black Spirit, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Giants better file sexual assault charges. They could definitely file assault charges after what happened tonight. They were violated. They were definitely violated tonight. I wouldn't be against that. JP, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Bengals scored 3 whole points after Jamar talked all that mess about the Browns being garbage. Spoiler alert, Brownies got the last laugh. My wife said the same thing. And I told my wife, I said, well, what he said wasn't that bad. And she just looked at me like, I was like, yeah. he pretty much asked for the smoke, and then they got it, and he choked on it. But shit happens, man. You know, they always, and I knew this, and I told y'all this on Friday, and I still went against my better judgment. I'm like, they always struggle with Cleveland in Cleveland. And I still pick Cincinnati, dumbass. And it's the second year in a row that they done lost a game against a divisional opponent at home, or in week one, not at home, because last year they were at home. This year they weren't at home. But it's the second year in a row they lost a game that we didn't think they were going to lose in the division in week one. I got to stop fooling with these dudes in week one. John Cedillo, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, John. My guy, John, writes, if we're doing anything of note in the playoffs, it will be because of the defense, with Dak just keeping the ship straight. I keep telling anybody that will listen, I want your defensive coordinator out of Dallas as fast as humanly possible. All right. Dan Quinn is the reason that Dallas will have a shot to win something of note this year. I've been trying to get this man a job, a head coaching job, the last 2 off seasons, and none of the jobs have been attractive enough. I'm like, come on, Dan. Jacksonville has an opening, bro. You can coach Trevor Lawrence. Man, you're not excited about that. He's like, nah, I'm good. I was like, come on, Denver had a top 5 defense last year. You know what you can do with that, man. They got Russell Wilson. He's like, yeah, I know, I'm good. Like, come on, bro. You don't want to go to Carolina? They got the number 1 pick. He was like, nah, I'm good, man. I'm good, really. I was like, nah, I wouldn't have took that job neither. He says, I know you wouldn't have. So I was like, yeah, shit, man. I've been trying to get this man a gig, bro. He won't leave. I'm like, did they promise you the job or something? Like, are you head coaching and waiting or something? Man, if you don't care your ass, he's going to be the reason they win something of note, because he's that damn good. I remember saying this 3 years ago when y'all hired him. I said, the biggest offseason acquisition in the NFC East was Dan Quinn. And y'all defense has been lights out ever since. Can't stop the run worth a damn, and I still think you're lighting the pants up front. And I still think you can run the ball against your defense. But if you can't run the ball and you just got to drop back and pass against that pass rush, good luck. You're going to need it. JB Johnson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. JB writes, is it me or is EB's playbook nothing special? No, it might not be you. It may be nothing special. You know, we'll see. Only time will tell. None of us were blown away by what we saw today. None of us. So, yeah, you can't know for sure what the hell EB has up his sleeve yet. Nothing that we saw today, it moves the needle. And as far as we're concerned, what did we do, right? Nothing. Like, again, all of this will reveal itself in time. But this felt like last year, right? This felt like the year before. Eke out a win against a team that you think you're better than, barely scored 20 points, but you find a way to win against a lesser opponent. This feels like every year that Ron's been here. But again, we knew that this was going to take time. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. You can't expect a first-time offensive coordinator like being the guy calling his own plays, you know, actually putting together and also take into consideration, and I've talked about this already, and we'll talk more about it tomorrow. I don't want to get into specifics here. I don't want to hijack this show, but you also have to take into consideration not having, you know, actual film on Arizona. The conditions weren't ideal. There are a lot of factors that you have to take into consideration, but making no excuses, we didn't look sharp. The offense didn't look dynamic. It didn't look like anything special. We'll see. I don't think that we can make any clear-cut I don't think you can make any clear-cut come to any clear-cut conclusions on his offense yet. Obviously, after one game. So we'll see. Cam G, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Cam G writes, can't wait for Terry to roast Diggs on Turkey Day. I just want to cook those boys in general, because Cowboys fans seem to think that Diggs is this all-world corner that he can't get work. And it happens to him all the time. He's gotten better, no doubt about it. But he can still get this work. So we'll see. It might happen against Aaron Rodgers. He might get some work next week. We'll see. He might get some with Garrett Wilson. The Q-Bone, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Q writes, what up, Lou? What's up, Q? Says, celebrate. Both of our teams are 1-0. How sweet it is. How sweet it is. Enjoy it while it lasts. Who knows how long that right-hand column will exist with a 0, you know? I don't know who you guys play next week. We got Denver on the road. They didn't win this week, but that doesn't mean they're not super dangerous. I can't wait to watch the game. I know Sean Payton kicked an onside kick on the very first play of the game and recovered it. But right now, they look like the same Denver Broncos. Hopefully, Jerry Jeudy's out for our game as well. He did not play in this game. Hopefully, he's out next week. I take any gifts and any, opportunities to try to help win that I can. So it'd be nice to, get to them before Jerry Jeudy. Just like we're getting to Buffalo before Von Miller comes back. Thank you. Anything that I can get. I'm mad. Like, damn, I wish I would have got my Rams out of the way while Cooper Kupp's on IR. I say that, and then they put up 30 on Seattle. That's family business, though. So, anyway, congratulations to your boys. It was a rocky start, or in the middle, it got a little rocky, with the fumble and the scoop and score by DeForest Buckner. And they took the lead, for a little period there, 21-17, but you battled back and you ran away and you won that game, 31-21. So shout out to your boys for getting it done. You're the class of that division. I watched Tennessee today. Obviously, Houston is rebuilding. And you took care of Indy, and that they're kind of rebuilding as well. You're the class of that division. You have to find ways, just like you did today, to win. You continue to do that, and when it's all said and done, dust settles, smoke clears, you'll be at the top of that division where you rightfully belong. The Q-Bone, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you again. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? It's always, what's up, Lou? Celebrate. I don't mind celebrating again. Both of our teams are 1-0. It's always nice to start your season off with a win. And all of the other AFC South teams lost. Facts. Like I said, Saints tried to give it away to Tennessee, but they held on there. Also, as I mentioned, Houston, just so young, man. They had their opportunities against Baltimore to keep that game close, and they just did a lot of young team stuff. And then you took care of Indy. So you're alone, by your lonesome at the top of that division. And you could make this really painless. Like, you can make this quick and painless if you just take care of business early in the season. I think the rest of that division is rotten. It stinks. So if you take care of business, you could have this thing sewn up by like week 13, like right after Thanksgiving, this shit could be over. But you got to do that. Tennessee is the only team that might try to hang around and make shit difficult for you. Because, they're a well-coached team, even though I don't think they have the most talent in the world. They're a well-coached team, and you know how that goes. Spicy Kicks Hawaii. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. You sent me a super chat. I think you're having trouble super chatting. Let's see. That was at 12:03. So let me go in here and see if I can't pull a comment out from you, because I felt bad because it was just so many comments earlier that I couldn't find your comment, but I may be able to find it now. So let's see. 12. Here we go, right here. Spicy Kicks Hawaii. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, what's up, Louie? What's going on? Spicy Kicks Hawaii. Welcome to the mob. Longtime lurker from the 808. Hey, fellow lurker, man. It's always good for you to hear you guys come out of the shadows, man, into the light. Love what you do, boss. Why all black? Did I miss any injuries from today? Cheers for today's dub, NHO. No, this all black isn't for me. It's not for us. It's for the Giants. We went to a funeral tonight. You didn't see it? Oh man, it was a beautiful ceremony. Queen Latifah sung at the funeral. Oh man, I think Mike McCarthy read a eulogy. A number of people came up and spoke. Michael Parsons spoke. Tony Pollard had some nice things to say. I heard from, I think Odigizua said something. Damn, who else said something? Who else spoke? Feel like man, it was this young dude, Thomas. Had never heard of this dude before. You know, some rookie out of Georgia Tech, man. He had a whole lot to say. You would have thought him and the Giants grew up together. Well, anyway, I was dressed in all black for that, man. You missed a hell of a ceremony, man. It was a going home ceremony. It was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Red Wings writes, I'm slowly going from a Justin Fields doubter to a flat out hater. Don't let the hate take over your blood, man. Don't let it happen. I like him as a person, but he has some of the most annoying fans who prop him up as Lamar 2.0 when he's not even Tyrod Taylor's level. Yeah, it's rough, man. I feel bad. The Bears fans just want somebody that they can call their own. They're like us in the sense that they ain't had a franchise quarterback in forever. Like, if you want to claim Jay Cutler, go right ahead. He took you to a NFC championship game. Rex Grossman took you to a Super Bowl. So there's that, right? But that was more of their defense those years. They haven't had a franchise quarterback. They're dying for one. And I feel bad because they had a chance to get one last year if they would have just took Bryce Young. And I know how hard that had to be because Justin Fields ran for damn near 1,000 yards last year if he didn't rush for over 1,000 yards last year. And they said, hey, he didn't have any talent. So if we couple the athletic ability that we saw with, you know, some talent around him, this guy could be special. Year 2 of this offensive scheme, he should be great. And they're figuring out what a lot of people said when he came out of Ohio State. This guy isn't all that great at processing defenses. It was easy for him at Ohio State because played at Ohio State. They got the athletes. They're able to separate. They made it easy on him. It's unfortunate. It's like you said, he's a likable guy. You know what that sounds like? You're describing to me? Jalen Hurts. How can you not like Jalen Hurts? He's a very likable guy. I said I would be a massive Jalen Hurts fan. If he played for any team outside of the NFC East, I would love this guy. He's such a likable figure. But Eagles fans are insufferable. And they make you hate Jalen Hurts. The difference is Hurts is actually good. Justin Fields is not. So that's where the real disconnect happens is you're like, what are you talking about? Your boy is hot garbage. And that's the part that gets you upset is they're delusional because they just want something they can call their own. I've been there. I know how that goes. You just want somebody to be good so bad that you're blind to some of the things that are happening. Some people would say that that's the case with me now at Sam Howell. You see the talent. It doesn't look anything like Justin Fields. Okay? Nothing like it. But I'd be lying to you if I didn't run through a few stop signs with Dwayne Haskins. I never wanted him. But after the flashes we saw at the end of 19, I convinced myself in 2020 that, hey, this guy's going to prove a lot of people wrong. Or at least I hope. I would always throw at the end, at least I hope he is. there were so many things fundamentally wrong with him, right? And I always say, watch out for the Ohio State quarterbacks. CJ Stroud did a couple of special things today where I go, bro, what the F were you thinking when you just did that? And he was like, man, I don't know, man. That was some Ohio State shit. My bad. I ain't going to do that again. I was like, yeah, don't do that again, man. Seriously, don't do that again. You got to watch these Ohio State boys, man. They be on some other shit. Adam Scott, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Adam Scott writes, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good is Dallas's defense? It's really good, man. I put it at like an 8.5 because I still have questions about their run defense. Because Dan Quinn always, this goes back to his Atlanta Falcons days. He's always traded girth for speed and athleticism, right? So he'll give up runs on the interior and sacrifice that for the ability to run around your blockers, to create havoc, to have guys flying around at 110 miles an hour all over the field to make it look like there's 12 guys on defense instead of 11. And he's mastered that shit. But again, if you get the right team, they can bludgeon you to death in the run game. And the Giants were doing that at the beginning of the game. You know, they were getting after them. Cowboys were undisciplined. They were running those twists and stunts, and they were coming inside, and Jones was just taking off on the outside, taking what they were giving him. And then Saquon was getting up in between them tackles, right at Mozzie Smith and Jonathan Hankins, and running right down those boys' throats. And then the Giants went and did the giant thing that they do. They self-destructed, and the rest is history. I think they're about an 8.5, though, man. They're dangerous. If they clean up the run defense, they could be right up there with San Francisco and, you know, some of these defenses that are just ferocious in the league. I think San Francisco probably got the best defense right now, though. What they did to Pittsburgh today, crazy. Red Wing 01, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Red Wings writes, to the people making excuses about him having no talent, I've seen guys do more with less. His pocket awareness isn't just bad. It's historically awful. It's bad. And he doesn't have touch. He lacks touch, you know, on the football. Everything's like on a frozen rope. He lacks accuracy. His footwork isn't great. He doesn't make great decisions. He doesn't process fast enough to get through his progressions. There's a lot fundamentally wrong with his game right now, you know. And the bad part is, if he were with the right, like if Greg Roman were his offensive coordinator, I think he'd be just fine. Just fine, you know, because he'd simplify it. He'd make the reads much easier. He'd be getting the ball to the tight ends over the middle of the field, which they have some tight ends in Chicago. That's the kind of offense he needs to be in. But, you know, to your point, there's a lot fundamentally wrong with Justin Fields. Red Wings 01, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, to say nothing of his processing and decision making. It's a lot, man. There's a lot wrong with Justin Fields. And it was on display today. It was pretty bad today. And Bears fans might have got a cold, hard dose of reality in week 1 that this ain't what y'all thought. And they probably, if they were being real with themselves, probably would have gotten a little taste of that in the preseason. Because that third preseason game, when you're playing against other teams, 2s and 3s, he still didn't look effective in that game. So I think there was enough evidence that could have led you to this conclusion, but you still have hope that, hey, they're going to turn it up when they actually game planning. That wasn't the case today, but, you know, we'll see what happens next week. I just hope they still trying to figure some shit out by the time we get to them in like week 5 or 6, whenever the hell it is. Hope they still trying to figure some shit out. John Cedillo, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. John writes, don't care what law says. The organization can't be too impressed with Mike McCarthy. If we do some stupid shit like lose to San Francisco again, hoping to get him out for DQ for head coach. I just want Dan Quinn gone. I don't want him to stay in Dallas because, again, he's, to me, the key to keeping that thing together in Dallas. You cut their head off and the body will die. He's the head that keeps Dallas competitive. I want him gone so that they can bring in some Mike Nolan chump rather, that will bring Dallas back down. Michael Parsons was like begging Dan Quinn not to leave after his first year. Like, please come back. I thought he was gone. I thought I was going to get him to Jacksonville, man. I thought it was a done deal. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And I'm hoping that Mike McCarthy, because Mike McCarthy's the Jerry Jones prototype in terms of a head coach. Like, he's like Jason Garrett Jr., a guy that is, go along to get along. He's a puppet, and Jerry can pull all of the strings. And so he's a perfect fall guy. And so I just don't see them firing him. I don't. Like, the bottom's gotta fall out for Mike McCarthy to be fired. And that's why I'm like, hey, Dan, get out, bro. The longer you stay, the more time they may have to see that you're a better answer for them than Mike McCarthy. But we'll see. We'll see. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. I don't think that's a double up. Might be triple. Appreciate you. Says, one thing to consider about today's game was all the pressure was on us. Arizona had nothing to lose. We got it done. Good win. That's another great point. Doesn't absolve us of wrongdoing. You can't do the things we did, make the mistakes that we made, and feel good about them. But you're right. All the pressure was on us. Arizona sucks. Everybody expects them to suck. Everybody's been telling them how bad they suck. Everybody's been telling them that they're going to get the number 1 pick in the draft, that they have no chance. And so what do we got to lose? Nothing. Like, they played like they didn't care if they got thrown out of the game. They were doing some borderline dirty shit early in the game. Did you see EB on the sideline hit on the second helmet to helmet? I want to say it was Jahan Dotson that caught that one and was running towards the sideline and got hit by Thompson. EB looked like he was about to run over and two-piece him. Like, they was on some physical shit. Real talk. Like, I really wanted a piece of Kaiser White. Pause. Like, I really wanted to fight him. Like, I wanted one of our dudes to go get a 15 off of that. Like, go find number 7 and pick his ass off and bust him upside his goddamn head. That's some bullshit right there. They were playing like they ain't had shit to lose. Like, they were taking out all their frustration, all the shit that they heard. They took all of that shit out on us in the first half. I was like, well, goddamn. We still playing football, right? Like, we not playing like some celebrity deathmatch shit. Like, we still playing football with rules and shit, right? Because it felt like somebody was going to pull a pipe out and hit us over the head at one point. Like, this was some WWE shit. Where's the chair? Robert Gamble Jr. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Robert Gamble Jr. writes, yo, Lou, we need the offense to figure it out because our defense is getting dominant. Look, that's what we want. And Ron said it after the game, and we've been talking about it. I'm not ready to use the D word, the E word, or none of that shit when it comes to this defense. Do it again next week against Denver. They struggled to score this week against the Raiders. Do it again next week. All right, do it again next week, and then we can start, really starting to get excited, and then we'll get a real true test in week 3 against Buffalo. But do it again next week against Denver, right? But yes. We need the offense. And I thought special teams did a really good job in this game too. We need the offense to pick up their slack, like their end of the bargain, like carry your own weight. They didn't do that today. You saw Jack Del Rio got one of the game balls because his defense literally carried us to the victory today. We need the offense to do their part. And we knew that this is going to be a work in progress, right? We knew it was going to be some bumps in the road. It wasn't going to be, smooth ride the entire time. But all we're looking for is incremental improvement. Every week, the offense gets better. Every week, Sam gets better. The decision-making gets better. The offensive line gets better. The run game gets better. Every week, we're just looking for this offense to move the needle forward, right? As that happens, you look up week 7, now the offense is clicking. And if this defense continues to play the way that they're playing, now we got something, right? So, we'll see what happens. But I want the defense to be dominant. I want it to be an elite unit because then we can hang our hat on something. Then you can hang your hat on something. John Perez, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. I think that's a double up. Might be a triple up for my guy JP who writes, did you notice that this is not the same Eagles team from last year? Pats ran a million screens and the Birds struggled to stop them. So I haven't watched that whole game yet. I caught the end of that game, but I can't wait to watch it. But I already told y'all that the Eagles snuck up on teams last year, and they're not a better team than they were last year. LB, you could let LB fool you into thinking that they're a better roster. They're not, okay, than they were last year. That's one. Two, they snuck up on people last year. People knew they were going to be good. They didn't know how good they were going to be because Jalen Hurts was a question mark. 3, the schedule that the NFC East, and I can't state this enough. The schedule that the NFC East played last year was one that we could handle. Everyone in the division could handle. And the Eagles took full advantage of that schedule. What did I tell y'all when the schedule came out, when we did the show with the NFC East Super Friends? What did I tell you? They were going to struggle in this game. They were going to win, but it was not going to be easy. Okay? Not going to be easy. Their offense did not look good today. And I said, Belichick is really good with mobile quarterbacks at keeping them contained and, making those guys beat them from the pocket. He's made a living off of doing that to Lamar Jackson. And I said, we're going to see. But I'm telling you right now, I think he's going to have something devised for Jalen Hurts and company. And he did. They didn't do much on offense. They had a pick 6 for a touchdown. Zeke Elliott fumbled. That led to more points. They really didn't do much on offense. So, again, we'll see about the Eagles. I still think they're going to be a good team. I just don't think they're going to be dominant like they were last year. They're not going to be up by 24 points in the first half and then cruise in the second half like they were doing last year. That shit's not happening this year. They're going to be tested, and I want to see how they handle it. Because I really, truly think their coach, while he's a fun guy, he's young, got a lot of energy, he's spunky, he also looks like a dude that can be unhinged if shit doesn't go his way. You saw when we were beating him at halftime and he slammed his headset down. Like, he looks like a dude that if shit isn't going well, he becomes unhinged and it could fall apart quick. I really want to see what happens when adversity hits. He really hasn't had any adversity since his first year. And nobody was, after he came out stuttering and stammering in his first press conference, the bar was set low for him. So I want to see what happens when he hits adversity. They didn't hit any adversity last year. None. At one period at the end of the season when Hurts got hurt, where they hit a little bit of adversity. I want to see what happens when they start playing some good teams, shit starts going sideways, how he handles it. Because he's a really emotional dude. Really emotional. And in this league, emotional dudes don't handle losing very well. See Sean McVay last year. That man thought about quitting. And you see how quickly that shit went south. This man couldn't lose, never had been under 500 a day in his life in Los Angeles. Shit fell out. The bottom fell out of their season last year. And he thought about quitting. I'm not saying that's Nick Sirianni, but I'm telling you, he's emotional like Sean McVay. I could see this shit getting to him. and and shit just falling apart. But you got to get to them first, and they got to lose games. And I don't know if they're going to lose enough games. I don't know if the schedule gets tough. You know, it's easy for them at the beginning, but it gets tough eventually. And if they start losing some games, we'll see. I want to see what happens if adversity hits. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Fat American writes, Lou, I know I keep coming back to this, but why do opposing defenses seem to make our offense struggle more than our defense makes their O struggle? I don't know if that's always true. So this is the thing with our defense. This is the thing that drives me nuts with our defense, which is why I always tell people, be careful when you use the D and the E words, because I don't think that apply. I know that doesn't apply to our defense right now. Our defense doesn't create turnovers. And even though we're good on third downs, and we were again today, the Cardinals were 4 of 14 on third downs. So once again, another outstanding performance defensively from Washington on third downs. Generally speaking, we don't create turnovers. We did today, which helps. And you saw how much that did for our defense in terms of energy. And really, we were, after the Montez Sweat sat, we were really dominant on defense. The Cardinals might have gotten 2 or 3 first downs from that the last minute of the third quarter. Sweat got the sack force fumble on literally with 2 seconds left in the third quarter. From that point forward, the Cardinals, we shut the faucet off on them offensively. So we looked dominant for a little stretch there, but when we are inept on offense, usually it comes equipped and attached with turnovers and stupid shit. So that's why it seems so much more debilitating. Turnovers are such a big momentum shift in a game. You saw it today. Sweat's forced fumble changed the entire complexity of the game. We were dead up until that point, like lifeless. The crowd wanted something to cheer about. They weren't giving them anything. It was kind of sitting on pins and needles, like, oh my God, we might lose to Arizona. Like there was this kind of like unreal conversations that people were having with themselves, because all season leading up to this game, you were saying there's no way we're losing to Arizona. And here we are sitting here going into the fourth quarter, down 16-10, struggling with the Arizona Cardinals. And you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, are we really going to lose to this team that everybody thinks is going to be the worst in football? And then one play changes everything. And we don't get enough of those plays. While when teams do it to us, generally we are turning the ball over. So it feels a lot worse. Because we get stops on third downs. We force punts. Punts are different than turnovers, though. Way different. Any coach will tell you, I'd much rather punt the football away than turn it over. I don't even give a shit if it's a 45-yard pass on 3rd and 8 that gets picked off 45 yards down the field and there's no return. That's pretty much the same as a punt. I don't give a shit. I'd rather have my kicker punt and get that same 45-yard, net and no return than an interception. It just feels different. Mike Jank, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Mike Jank writes, Lou, Mike, they weren't pretty, but 1-0 is 1-0. Cheers. Cheers, my guy. It was not pretty, either one of ours. But again, that all that matters is you just took a brick and you put it in the left-hand column. And as I always say, 3-4 weeks from now, nobody's going to pick that brick up, turn it over, and look at the final score. They're just going to count the bricks. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the left-hand column. So just stack them up. Stack those dubs up like bricks in the left-hand column. And at the end, you hope that you got enough. When they sort them all out, you got enough to play some bonus football. That's all you can hope for. Wasn't pretty, but it was gritty. And most importantly, it was a dubski. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, I was happy with the second half defense. Still look at Arizona running back yards per carry. It was 4.5 yards per pop. B-Rob 3.5, and we're supposed to have the more dominant D line. There were some good hits in that game, but you can't go to the yards per carry if you just like you got to go to their individual back, James Conner. Now, if he had 4.5, you tip your cap. But there's a 29-yard reverse to Hollywood Brown in there. That's gonna spike their numbers, right? You take that run out of there, they're probably averaging the same disgusting 3-point. Man, how many tackles for loss we had in this game? They're probably averaging the same nasty 3.5 or 6 that we averaged in the game. But yeah, because we didn't have a 20-something yard run in the game. You know, we didn't have anything remotely close to that. They had a 29-yard run. And they might have had another nice little like 7. I think Connor had like a 12-yard run too. So, I mean, I could check it out right now. I bet you Connor probably didn't average 4. He probably averaged like 3.8 yards or something like that. I could be wrong, and I'm gonna go in here and he averaged 4.2 yards a carry. But let me go in here and check and see. So Connor averaged 4.4. So as a team, they only averaged 3.8 yards. But you know, Marquise Brown had a 29-yard run. Rondale Moore had 2 for 12, so that's 6 a pop. But that Keontae Ingram dude, every time he came in the game, we was shutting his ass down. 5 for -4, 5 carries for -4. He's what really brought their average down. He averaged -8 yards, -0.8 yards per carry. So James Conner 14 for 62, averaging 4.4. That's the thing you don't like. He had a long of 12, but there weren't a lot of big chunk runs in there. But he had some consistent, hits in the run game, but nothing that, was game changing, earth shattering. They couldn't run it on first, second, and third down and get a fresh set of downs. That's not what we were giving up. You get a nice hit there, nice hit here, but it wasn't like 4 on first down, another 4 on second down, 3rd and 2, and now they get 3 and they move the sticks. That's not what they were doing to us. That's the demoralizing shit when you can't stop it. Now, there would be a -1 in there, or there would be just a gain of 2. And then if you ran it again on 2nd and 8, now it's 3rd and 7. Now you got to throw it. B-Rob's average I feel like it's not like a good representation of what his numbers could have been. You had the nice run at the end that would have ended the game. It was called back due to a holding penalty. And they ran him in the later stages of the game when the Cardinals knew we were going to run. So they were stacking the box. We didn't try to do anything creative to, get them out of these run looks where they could just essentially run blitz to stop the run, because they knew we were trying to run clock. And we didn't try to hide the fact or mask the fact that we were looking to run the football. We didn't run one bootleg or nothing to kind of keep them honest on the backside or nothing. Just turn around, handed the ball off or gun runs. And they were able to kind of stack the box and stop the run, right? So it was a lot of gain of 1, gain of 2 late in the game, so that kills your average. I think we'll be fine in the run game, though. And same with stopping the run. Look, we're going to have our moments where we don't stop the run well, just because of our base defense. Our base defense isn't great, because it's not really conducive to stopping the run consistently, but that's why we got those dogs and horses up front. It allows you to play with just 6 guys legitimately in the box, and then a safety coming down as a 7th run defender or a corner, Buffalo nickel, whatever, coming down as that 7th defender in the box. But you really just looking to have one of the dudes on the defensive line penetrate and blow shit up like we saw today. We was getting that consistently. Eps CX, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, did you see what DK did to Puka? It did, and Puka went off. Nah, I didn't see that, but I saw Puka had like 10 catches for like $130. I was like, what the? Puka Nacua going off. I can't wait to watch to see what the hell was really going on. I didn't see any of that. I didn't see any of it. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Fat American writes, people always hyping up our defense, but honestly, last great defense I've seen, you know it, 2005. Jack Del Rio defenses are good, but haven't been elite in my opinion. They haven't been. You're not wrong. I've never used the E word or the D word with this defense, with any of his defenses since he's been in Washington. This year is probably the closest that he'll have it. This will be the best chance he'll have to have a unit like that, though. But again, I think you need Chase Young healthy in order to have that. You need Chase on the other side. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Fat American writes, now about the offense. I have trust EB will make adjustments and the O-line will gel to be a bit better. This used to be a game we lost, LOL. I'm so happy we won. I knew Arizona was going to be scrappy. I thought they would fight early and that we would pull away. And we had a chance. I told you, I went back and watched it. And now watching that Antonio Gibson fumble drive was so frustrating because it was a good drive. I didn't realize, so going back and watching, I didn't realize how far we had gotten. I didn't realize his fumble came inside the 15-yard line. Like, for some reason in my mind, I was thinking we were like at the 25 or, somewhere in that neighborhood, 23-yard line when he fumbled. No, we were literally going like it was like the 12-yard line where he fumbled, something to that effect. I didn't realize we were that damn close. It was a really good drive. So it was 7-3 or 7-6 at that point. It was 7-6 at that point. We had a chance to really put a stranglehold on the game. Right there. A touchdown on that drive, and they are dead. And we're cruising in this game. Changed, again, it was just like the Curtis Samuel fumble from week 1 last year against Jacksonville. Changed everything. Everything. Rocky D, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, when was the last time we heard from Luck? It was probably about a good 3 weeks to a month ago. He peeked in, said he was back, and I haven't heard from him since, but I'm always on high alert. I'm always on high alert. But I think I caught him in the Discord, probably like 2 weeks ago or so. He'd be around. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Fat American writes, Arizona was playing dirty as F. I was like, yo, they doing that on purpose? I was hoping Nick Gates or Ridgeway would go powerbomb one of them mother effers. I literally wanted somebody to just get nasty, and I as much as I hate stupid football and I hate penalties, I was willing to take a 15 just to send a message like, hey, ain't no bitches over here. I don't know what y'all think this is. I don't know what the hell y'all gassed up on or what y'all hyped up on, but it ain't that type of party over here. Try that shit next week with the Giants. Don't bring that shit over here. But they was really, really out to task. I really wanted somebody to get in their shit, man. I'm glad they squatted up for Sam and they didn't get a penalty because they got a 15-yarder and that helped jumpstart that drive. But I wouldn't have been mad if it was offsetters, if somebody came over there and gave Kaiser White a forearm shiver and knocked his ass down. I would not have been mad about that. But I'm glad they kept their composure. But at the same time, I was really hoping somebody came over there and got physical with them because that was some bullshit. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, number 7 on their team needed to get pieced up, fam. That's Kaiser White. That was the dude they got from the Eagles that hit Sam on that second possession out of bounds. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. King of the North writes, Sam pulled his best Taylor Heineke impression with that fumble that was returned for a touchdown. That needs to be corrected now. I don't want to see that shit again this year. Facts. That can't happen. And he talked about it after the game. Like, yeah, I can't do that. Can't have that happen. And I wish I could promise you that that's not going to happen again with him. Because when you get quarterbacks that are looking to make plays, sometimes you get those type of mistakes. That one was so egregious because it was literally right by the end zone. All the dude had to do was pick it up and stretch the bitch over the goal line for the touchdown. Like, even if that thing was picked up at the 7 or recovered at the 7, I'm still not sure Arizona gets in. Like, they stink that bad on offense. But and they had opportunities. Like, Zach Ertz dropped the touchdown. Like, they had opportunities. For as much shit as I'm talking, they had their chances. But to just give away a touchdown like that, that's some sickening shit. And generally, you lose games when you do shit like that. That's how the Patriots lost to the Eagles today. You can't throw a 70-yard pick six and expect to win. You asking to lose. We were lucky. We were fortunate to overcome that. And to your point, he can't be doing that shit. But I'd be lying to you if I told you that might not happen again this season. And not necessarily a scoop and score, but a careless fumble where you go, come on, bro. Because he's a playmaker. When you're a playmaker, shit happens. You know, the ball is exposed sometimes. He got to make sure he take care of the rock, though. He can't be having this shit out there loosey-goosey like that. But like he explained it, he did not expect that guy to get to him. So, but it happened. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Fat American writes, I know I sound all doom and gloom, but I was happy with some things. B-Rob is a pass catcher, and of course, Tez. I take Tez over Young at this point. You're not doom and gloom. It was the disappointment of a week one that you thought had a chance to be a dominant performance by the team to really, kind of springboard them into week number 2 on the road against Denver. And you really wanted to feel good about the offense because that's all we talked about all offseason was how improved this offense was going to be. And it didn't look like it in week 1. So, a lot of people were, disappointed, but look, we'll get into that on the show tomorrow. And we've talked about it a lot today already, but there are a number of different factors as to why it didn't look the way we wanted it to today. Some of it self-inflicted. Some of it you have to give credit to the Arizona Cardinals for coming out and playing some good ball and being physical and playing fast and, just keying in on some things that they felt like we were going to do and doing a good job of taking some things away. We didn't threaten them vertically at all. So I felt like they were sitting on a lot of stuff underneath. So we got to be better at times stretching the field vertically just to back them off a bit more. But also in the same breath, I want to look at some of the route concepts and kind of see what we're doing. But all in all, it wasn't the start to the season that we were looking for in terms of efficiency, but we won. So, you take it and you try to make the necessary corrections and be better next week on to Denver with a win, right? As far as Tez is concerned, I was always in the corner of Montez Sweat. I've always, I told you guys before the season, he's the guy that I expect to get paid. He's the guy that I expect to have that Daron Payne type leap this year. But, I'm not counting Chase out like a lot of people are. But Tez is the guy that I think is going to get paid here. And he was huge today in the win, for sure. I didn't realize that he, was moving up the ranks in terms of sacks in franchise history. It doesn't feel like it because he hasn't had that big year, right? That dominant 12 and a half, 14 sack season. But he's been really consistent, even in his rookie season. Remember, he didn't get a sack his rookie season until like week 9 or 10. But then he went on this crazy tear at the end of the season. And then you look up and at the end of his rookie season, he's got like 8.5 sacks, right? 7.5, 8.5, something like that. And he's always in that neighborhood. I think the 1 year, 2021, we had the broken jaw and his brother got shot and murdered. I think he ended up with like 5.5 that year. It's a down year for him, but he's usually in that 8 to 10, 7 to 9 range, somewhere in that neighborhood. I didn't realize he had got up there that quick. So they gave him a game ball and said, I think Rivera said he's, he moved up to somewhere on the sack list for Washington. I said, okay, good for Tez. Good for Tez. Fat American. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Fat American writes, I know, he says, it was cool seeing Payne and Tez celebrate together. It was just cool seeing that D-line be as disruptive as they were. Once Tez caused that forced fumble, it's like it ignited the crowd, and that in turn ignited the defense, and the D-line like all of a sudden became unblockable. I thought for that fourth quarter, they had no answers for our defensive line. They literally took over the game in the fourth quarter. That's where the game was won. We scored 10 unanswered points in the fourth quarter, and the defense, specifically the D-line, but also the secondary played well. Kendall Fuller and Forbes with the big pass breakup at the end, and Curl was all over the field. I thought that the safeties played with a lot of juice early in the game. Derek Forrest was flying around. Percy Butler had a chance at a pick. So the secondary was flying around. They had a really solid contest, but it all started up front with the D-line. They were dominant in the fourth quarter. So anyway, Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Fat American writes, how about that Jay Allen sack, body sack? It was just crazy to see him spin around because he knew Dobbs was behind him. Like, people were trying to make it seem like he spun and made this incredible spin move, right? Like, no, he was rushing and he saw Dobbs trying to go, and I think he felt like the only way he could do it was to spin, turn around, and reach out. Like, you're not going to reach your arm out like that if you don't know he's back there. That's not a natural movement. He knew Dobbs was there. He spun and swung simultaneously, knowing that he was right behind him. It was beautiful to watch. I'm just glad he didn't like grasp onto his face mask or the opening of his helmet or nothing stupid like that and pick up 15, because that brought up third and forever with that sack, right? That pushed them into that third and like 17, because that was on the heels of like a tackle for loss on a run play. And so we already had them backing up. That sack made it like 3rd and 17. They ended up getting like 7 on 3rd and 17 to the tight end, and it brought up 4th and 10. And you knew they're not converting 4th and 10, right? So that sack was huge. It was a monster play, right? Abdella, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Abdella. Right, that Giants ass whooping gonna be funny with the Super Friends, and we'll be like in the week 4, that week. But yeah, we're not letting that shit go. Boy, he gonna have to wear that for a little while. That's gonna be nasty. But Bad Dog's a good sport. He's of all of the guys on the panel, he's gonna take that one in stride. He'll be fine. That one hurts though. That's a pretty rough one to stomach in week 1. Watching their live stream, boy, you can see that shit was eating them alive, especially Tana. He looked so distraught. I mean, he looked like, I don't even want to be here right now. Like, he looked like he wanted off the stream. It was crazy. Oh man, that was pretty bad. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Fat American writes, Allen backed that badonkadunk up like a Mack truck and knocked down Dobbs. LOL. You gotta throw a pause in there, man. I need a pause from you there. Fat American. He definitely like that showed how strong he was right there, because he walked the guard back into Dobbs, turned, and then just kind of backhanded, grabbed him, and slung him down without even really, like you said, it was a body sack. It wasn't even like a real full on, I got you, grab you, wrap you, take you down type thing. It was pretty dope. It's pretty dope. And I like the celebration afterwards. Keese, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Keese writes, despite the rough start, I'm very optimistic with this season. Sam gave the Cardinals 10 points with the pick that resulted in a field goal and the fumble, scoop, and score. I think he understands the value of the rock now. I don't think there was ever a time where he didn't understand the value of the rock per se, Keith, but I just think he understands, like, I got to be more cognizant of my surroundings. Like, even in the preseason, I thought there were times where he was kind of loose with the ball. Remember that play against the Ravens where they blitz up the A gap, and I want to say it was B-Rob that initially kind of like whiffed on the block, and the dude was coming to get Sam, and then B-Rob came back, had a second effort, kind of got a piece. Sam, the ball kind of fell down his leg a little bit. Then he escaped, got his arm out of there, regathered the ball, rolled out, and hit Jahan on the sideline right before halftime to set up the touchdown to Diami. Like, that wasn't like textbook 2 hands on the football protecting the shit. He kind of got lucky, right? Sometimes I think he's so focused down the field making plays that he's not always aware of his surroundings, you know. But then, you know, I said this on the show. The thing I love about Sam is no matter what happens, and Charles Leno said this after the game, no matter what happens, Sam is like even keel, like on to the next, on to the next one. You know, some quarterbacks, it'd be hard to move on to the next one, right? Hard to move on when you always regret one. Sam ain't that dude. Like, he's on to the next one. So it was great to see what we had been talking about with him come to fruition. You saw the adversity hit, and then you saw Sam overcome the adversity. So he's going to be fine. I got no doubts in my mind. Abdallah, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Abdallah, who writes, how about us? We got some growing to do, but thumbs up. Yeah. You know, you can't be mad at that. You can't be mad at that. And again, this league is all about getting the dub. Find a way to win. That's what it's all about. You can bitch and complain and moan and groan about mistakes that were made, opportunities that were lost, your points left on the field, this, that, and the third. But there are 16 teams after tomorrow. There'll be 16 teams that wish they were in the position that we were in at 1-0. So you take it and you move forward and you try to correct the mistakes and get better for the next week. 24-year Snyder survivor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Tua went crazy today. Yeah, he did. I got to see the tail end of that game. That throw to Tyreek was crazy. Stepped up in the pocket, you know. And so many people forget Tua was supposed to be the prize and crown jewel of that 2020 draft class. He was supposed to be that guy. Tua was winning all of the competitions at all these camps. He won that Elite 11 camp. Remember they used to do that show on ESPN with Trent Dilfer? He won that shit. And there was a lot of quarterbacks in there with him. And he won that shit, right? Tua was supposed to be that guy. He won a national championship in his freshman year. He was supposed to be that dude, and then the injuries happened, and, you know, this, that, and the third. And so people forget Tua's really good. And they like to talk shit about Tua. Tua's really good. And now that he's, you know, got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill had 215 yards receiving today. Tua had like 466 or some craziness. They said Tua had the 4th most yards passing in a week 1 performance in NFL history. I said, zoinks! Didn't realize he was doing it like that. People always got some shit to say about Tua, though. That's the shit that'd be funny to me. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Fat American writes, I've been watching Sanford and Son. Show funny as F. You just figuring that out? That's a classic, bro. 70s TV was different because they didn't give a F. I don't know if the FCC didn't exist back then, but they didn't give a F. they were saying some of everything on TV back in those days. You had to have thick skin because they was gonna say some shit. Yeah, those shows are hilarious, bro. All in the Family, Sanford and Son, Good Times, you know, all, the Jeffersons, all of them shits is funny. And they don't give a damn about your feelings, neither. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Fat American, writes, man, have a good night, Lou. Best to you and yours. Likewise, Fat American. Hey, always good chopping it up with you. And look, man, you got no reason to feel like you're being doom and gloomish. We all feel like you do. Like, we want this team to be good, but it can't just be the defense. Offense has to carry their own weight. So, anyway, I digress. Be easy, man. Take care of yourself. 24-year Snyder survivor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, may the rain wash away the rest of Snyder's sins, and may the gods bless our season with better play and faster starts. We did this last year. We won week 1 last year, and we won week 1 in 2020, and you see where that went. So I'm hoping that we don't go sideways like we did last year and in 2020. We started out 1-0 and then ended up 1-5 in 2020. We started out 1-0 last year. We ended up 1-4. So this is a pivotal game because we've been at 1-0 before. This is the third time in 4 years under Ron Rivera that we started the season 1-0. So this is not uncharted territory. 2-0 is uncharted territory. Okay, we've never been 2-0 under Ron Rivera. So this is the one on the road at Denver. If we're really different, if this season's going to be different, if we really truly are serious about being different, go to Denver and find a way to come home victorious. But we'll talk about that this week. Abdullah, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Abdullah writes, Lou, people forget the quarter our O-line was holding up pretty good. We just got to develop this week 1 has been weird for everyone. They rusty. The offensive line wasn't as bad as people make it out to be, you know. But again, everybody's perception of what takes place is different. We're not all watching the same game. We don't see it from the same perspective. We don't see it from the same lens. And that's okay. Everybody knows points. Everybody knows production. Okay. When shit doesn't go the way that it's supposed to go, blame is dispersed amongst the 11 guys on the field. Like I had people today, man, Sadiq Charles stunk. He needs to be benched. And I'm like, for what? I don't think he had that bad of a game. Actually, I don't think he had a bad game at all. So, you know, but again, when shit doesn't go well, it's enough blame to go around for everybody, for some people. So John Bates caught, you know, a lot of backlash today. I'm like, Bates is fine. Like, that's his role. One of those penalties was bogus to me. The other one, yeah, you got me. Hands up. You got me. I didn't love the call, but you got me. It was a holding penalty. It's not like John Bates had 2 drops today. You know? Yeah, Logan had a bad drop early in the game. But Logan's going to be fine. I'm not worried about Logan. A lot of people coming down hard on him too. But anyway, we'll see. Big Money Sonny, what's going on, my guy? Big Money Sonny. What's going on? Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Big Money Sonny, writes, you know I had to come through. Always good to hear from you, bro. Says, thoughts on where we at, Lou? My fault. I missed your recap, but I'm not feeling different. Defense looks all right. Bro, we're going to be fine. That's where I'm at with mine. A lot to correct, a lot of things we can improve upon, but a win's a win in the National Football League. They found a way to get it done. It wasn't pretty, but it was gritty, and most importantly, it was a dubski. We moved forward. You take what you did, you learn from it, and you hope to take what you did well, bottle that up, take it to Denver with you. The things you didn't do well, you get that shit out of your system now, and you correct those mistakes, and you hope to play a much tighter, cleaner, more efficient game offensively against Denver while maintaining a lot of the defensive intensity that we had today, forcing turnovers, getting to the quarterback, tackles for loss. Like somebody brought up at the press conference that the Cardinals had 11 drives. In 10 of those 11 drives, we had either a sack or a tackle for loss or both. We were creating havoc up front. Our guys were disruptive up front. That is the heart and soul of this football team right now. So they did their jobs. Now we got to get the offense to catch up, right? So I think we're going to be okay. I truly do believe that. But again, we will see. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Sunday Night Football Overtime. And I was just about to tweet out, man, I love this shit. I've missed this so much. And I never even got a chance to tweet that out because before I could even sit down, get comfortable, I just put the kids to sleep. It's already 16-0. Like I couldn't even really enjoy the game. Shit was already over before it started. 40-0 was the ass whooping tonight. 40-0. The Giants caught a 40-piece at the crib. Yikes. Dallas, they have one of these in them every year, it feels like. Whether they did it to Minnesota last year, right? What was it, 40-3? They went into Minnesota and beat the brakes off of them. They exploded on the Indianapolis Colts in the fourth quarter last year for like 28 points and ended up beating them like 54 to like 17 or some shit like that. Like they're capable. We've seen them do this before. Wow, though. On the road at New York, jeez Louise, that was impressive. Even if the offense didn't necessarily wow you, to score a defensive, special teams, and offensive touchdown all in the first half, I mean, I don't know if you can do it much better than that. Don't know if you can do it much better than that. Anyway, I digress. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. My guy, Big Money Sonny, writes, real talk on the double up. Thoughts on how? I thought Eric B was going to dial up 100 passes today. I did too. I was lamenting that going into the fourth quarter. I was like, yo, Sam's going to have 40 passing attempts today. This is just going to be like reminiscent of last year, week 1, with Carson Wentz throwing it 47 times. I knew he wasn't going to get that high into the 40s, but I was like, bro, he's going to be at 41 passing attempts. That's crazy because I never envisioned that against Arizona. Never. I didn't think he would even make it to 30. Remember, I was telling y'all 20, 27, 21, 28 for 247, 2 touchdowns, knowing it's like that's what I thought. I thought it was gonna be like a modest, really good quality start where he manages the game really well, hands it off, 30 some odd times, and you keep it pushing. I had no plans for him to be pushing 40, but they slowed it down significantly in the fourth quarter. He barely threw the football. If maybe once or twice max in the fourth quarter. A lot of handoffs in the fourth quarter. So I thought it was an up and down day for Sam. I thought he was average. Like I said, to me, he was closer to a C+ than he was a C-, but he was a solid C today. Did some really good things, did some really bad things, but overall, and this is what I keep harking back to, we don't win the game without his play in the red zone in particular. And then gave up a touchdown right before half, but he got us a field goal back too, right? So he made some big plays. He also made some big boo-boos, but the plays that he made outweighed the plays that he gave away because his 2 turnovers accounted for 10 points. But his 2 touchdowns in the red zone are why we won the game. Now, again, the defense is the reason he had those opportunities, specifically the second one to take the lead for good, the game-winning score. But the first touchdown, that was all them. The Cardinals aided us with 2 or 3 penalties on that drive, including the 30-some-odd yard penalty on the deep ball to Terry. And then he makes an incredible throw going to his left to Brian Robinson through traffic. And then the run on third down, that's 3rd and goal, bro. If he doesn't tuck it and run and score, we got to settle for a field goal. We're still losing the game 16-13. I don't know if we win the game. So he made some big plays. A lot of things he can correct, a lot of things he can be sharper on. Obviously, the offensive line can be a little bit better. Not a little bit, a lot better. But all in all, first week, new system, number of different things working against you. I thought it was solid overall. EB, he's going to be better. We got to remember, like EB always says, a lot of times when Sam makes a mistake, he's got to remind himself that's the first time he's probably made that mistake. You can say the same thing for EB. Like, this is the first time he's been his own play caller. So he's still figuring out this team as well. So it's a work in progress. And I don't feel any different today than I did last week or the week before that, or the week before that. I still think this is going to be a dynamic offense when it's all said and done. So there's that. Abdallah, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Abdallah writes, don't let up on Bad Dog. They was clowning Sam as well. Yeah, nah. Trust me, he ain't gonna hear the end of that. Whether it's from me, Bad Dog, or Law, he gonna get some work. I ain't gonna kill Bad Dog because he's a pretty chill dude. So I ain't gonna kill him like I would if this was, say, LB. But he gonna get some work. And you're not gonna give up a 40 spot at the crib, get shut out and embarrassed on Sunday Night Football, and we not gonna let you have it. But he already know he getting it. He's gonna be self-deprecating. He's probably gonna jump on his own self before we even get to, try to kill him. That's how you do it. Before you can even get to me, I'm gonna crush myself. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Sunday Night Football Overtime. Giants suffer a brutal and vicious, flavor-delicious death at the hands of the Dallas Cowboys, 40-0 in Week 1. As I mentioned already, only counts as one. That's the beauty of it, is it's an ugly loss, but it only counts as one. Dallas 1-0, heading home to take on the New York Jets next week. That should be a fun one. Meanwhile, the New York Giants have the Arizona Cardinals next week. That's a great opportunity to bounce back, get off the snide, get in the win column, and gain some confidence and feel better about yourself. They don't win next week against Arizona. This could be a very, very long season for the New York Football Giants. But we will see. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. You guys get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We will be back tomorrow. LouieTeeNetwork podcast will be live after Bills and Jets. That should be a dandy of a football game, not like this shit we got tonight. And also Washington Command Post, Commanders Nightly News as well. So full slate, full plate. I'll see you tomorrow. You guys have a good one. Take care. God bless. And good night.